And talk about disconnects. I thought it was bizarre. In 1991, when only 78% of Americans identified themselves as an environmentalist, meaning we could find more than 20% of us who felt that the air we breathe, water we drink, our land, forests, oceans, biodiversity, and all life around us aren't necessary. That's the single largest disconnect that we could possibly have today, I believe. Well, unbelievable as it may seem, that 78%, according to this last poll this year, has dropped to 42%. So today in 2016, less than 1/2 of all Americans believe that the environment is of any value to them. So let's put that into context. We need to bring everyone up to speed regarding the importance of preserving what keeps them alive before we then educate them as to how we're destroying it. The decline in environmentalism is being blamed on the fact that this issue has become politicized and that Americans don't want to be associated with a politically charged issue. Well, it should be politicized. The health of our environment and therefore the need to eliminate animal agriculture should be on the #1 priority item or at the top of the priority list on every policymaker's desk today. Every governor, every mayor, every senator, every House of Representative, every advisor. It should be the #1 priority item for every leader of every country in the world, beginning with our own President of the United States. Many have asked me what they can do to help create positive change in the world regarding this environment issue. And that's a great question. A good starting point is to follow us on Facebook, on Twitter, on our website, and getting involved on our online ambassador program, which is starting in the next few weeks. And you know, you've already started this process of what you can do by being here. Remarkably, this statement was made almost 1,000 years ago by someone who understood the environment and the animals around him. Well, I have my own set of predictions. Not that anybody wants to hear these, but I'm going to tell you anyway, of what might happen in the future over the next 10, 20, 30 years. And it goes something like this. In the year 2020, the next set of new dietary guidelines will be released, and our environment will be emphasized. And therefore, policies will be already underway that incentivize, or maybe create those taxes we talked about. It's going to incentivize the growing and eating of whole plant-based foods. By the year 2025, it'll be standard public perception that eating animals is not healthy for our environment or for our own human health. It'll be frowned upon in public settings, much like cigarette smoking is today, where you see signs that they don't allow cigarette smoking. We don't allow eating meat in this establishment. They will be talking about this transformation on Good Morning America and The View and 60 Minutes if they're still around. By the year 2030, fossil fuels are no longer used by 193 nations, but they all sign a document that impose a tax on any country that produces meat or dairy, now realizing that global warming and climate change are still advancing, and that they should have addressed this animal agriculture connection to climate change 20 years earlier. By the year 2052, I'll be over 100 years old. And for my birthday, in 2052, I'll see this. In an attempt to preserve Earth's very few remaining resources, we're going to see that producing and eating animals becomes illegal. Of course, given the tipping points in front of us, I'd like to see all this happening today, before noon. Some argue that it's unrealistic to ask the global population to eliminate meat, dairy, and fish, not only as a functional change, but behavior psychologists would suggest that we don't use words like eliminate, stop, or don't when advocating change in food choice or any type of change, because that's too negative. It creates barriers such as feeling of infringement of individual rights. So instead, many suggest to use the approach of kindly asking everyone to, could you please begin replacing, or could you kindly substitute animal products with plant-based alternatives, because you shouldn't tell anyone that they might have to have something taken away or to stop an unhealthy habit, even though it's adversely affecting them and everything and everyone around them. But don't infringe on their individual rights. Well, is that so? Just where would you use the words, could you please replace, or kindly substitute here in any of these? Now, I understand the importance of empowerment through the spoken word, but at some point in time, the seriousness of a situation must dictate an action to be taken, regardless of what words are chosen. It's time to switch out whose rights we're worried about. Knowing everything I talked about yesterday and today, there's certainly ample reason for feeling quite discouraged, isn't there? Yeah, anyone feeling discouraged out there? Yeah, I understand. Regarding loss of our planet's life systems, what we've done to our planet, there's so much bad news and the truth around us. And even with increased awareness, it seems we'll be constantly fighting an uphill battle. But in the midst of potential despair, there can be found great news. There's an easy solution to global depletion and those planetary boundaries that we talked about yesterday. We don't have to destroy our planet or ourselves to eat. In fact, it's the other way around. But we must change, and it is a choice. We need to substitute, replace, eliminate the practice of raising, slaughtering, and consuming animals, and we must do it now. Now, there's great news in all this because the food choices that are optimal for our planet's health happen to be the very same food choices that optimize our own health. How easy is that? You know what? We could all be heroes. That's right. All of us. We could even be superheroes, swooping down and saving lives and saving our planet with every single thing we eat every single day. Yeah, a superhero. I don't know about you, but I'm feeling better already. Well, something quite telling happened at the end of the annual Global Climate Change Conference that we talked about earlier yesterday. In her closing remarks, the executive secretary of the conference, Christiana Figueres, provided a summary of the conclusions of 200 nations, NGOs, and researchers by stating this about our future, about greenhouse gas emissions, about climate change. She said this: "The science is unquestionable. Therefore, despite the obvious effects on the industry itself, we must call for the elimination of the use of coal as an energy source." And she said we must do this immediately. Notice that she didn't say that we should use less coal or better coal or for us to use only local or humane coal. I'm pretty sure I didn't hear her say that. I also didn't hear her say that we should all go coal-less on Mondays. In fact, she said we should eliminate coal, even though coal carries with it roughly the same amount of greenhouse gas emissions that raising livestock does. And coal has no real direct effect on water scarcity, world hunger, loss of biodiversity, rapid rate of extinctions, and all other areas of global depletion, but raising and eating animals does. So the door has been opened, hasn't it? Perhaps inadvertently by Ms. Figueres and 200 nations, but as far as I'm concerned, the global stage for massive food choice change has been set. If there is an imminent threat to our planet and to us, which there is, well, we should certainly be able to call for its elimination and for it to be done immediately. As a global community, we'd have no difficulty, I think, joining arms to avert a looming nuclear war. It'd become our #1 priority without question. But the cause of our demise may never be a nuclear disaster. It may be very well something as simple as food choice and the fact that it was never placed as our #1 priority. So when we talk about definitions, it's time to finish reshaping the word sustainable. This is my definition. And if you think about it, we really don't want to create a world that is simply allows for our existence, that we simply are surviving, or to be merely sustained. No, that's not good enough. At this stage, we need to create a world where there's quick regeneration, rapid rejuvenation, a world where we and other species together can flourish. That's my vision, and we're the unique group of generations living right now that can make or break this opportunity. It'll be our defining ethos. It'll be our legacy by which future generations will remember us. So I encourage and challenge everyone to become more aware about your food choices, seek more accurate definitions, understand and appreciate the timelines and the tipping points that we're faced with, And then let's all commit to making a difference. But not just with our own health or our own life. No, that's not good enough. Let's all commit to making a difference in someone else's life and a difference in the long-term health of our planet. But let's do it now, not later. We might not have a later. And let's think about making a difference every day of the week, not just on Mondays. Be a superhero for those around you, guiding them and saving lives every single day. That, my friends, is what sustainability and positive change to achieve it is really all about. With that in mind, let's all of us here today, in this room, watching the streaming or on future replays, let's all of us go out and inspire others to become aware. Thank you so very much. A tremendous audience, and it's an honor for me to be here. Thank you. Thank all of you. Thank you so much. Thank you very, very much. Thank you.